Hi, Sandy.
Hi, it's Dave. Unfortunately, no Kirk with us today. He's got some computer issues, so he sends his apologies. Actually, he doesn't send his apologies. He couldn't care. Uh,
Has he even got computer problems?
he ain't even got a computer problem. He just couldn't give a shit. He didn't want to be here today. Uh, you know what? One of these days, he's going to kill me for all this crap I say about him. Anyway, today we're going to talk about doom metal. We just did a video of My Die Bride, which was meant to be my video of like, oh, this is a doom band I don't like, and this is a doom band I do like, and why do I like one and not like the other? But unfortunately, I actually liked My Die Bride, so it's kind of redundant. But we're going to do this video anyway. So yeah, we're going to chat about a band I do like from the doom genre, and we're going to try and compare, not really compare them, but probably work out why this is a band that I got into back in 1995. So I would have been 17 when I got into this band. So that'll give you an idea of the doom. Let's go check it out. Always a good point there to pause it. So, of course, this is Paradise Lost. And this is what, Hallowed Land off of Draconian Times.
I guessed it's from Draconian Times because that was the last of the early Paradise Lost albums that I own. And at that point, I was thinking, do they doom? And no, they don't at this stage.
No, and so this is interesting because I went back and listened to some Gothic, and I was like, okay, I understand where they were a lot more aggressive, growl, guttural in the vocal stuff. This is where and this was interesting for me because when this came out, we were listening to, we were still listening. Me and my friends, that we had this. We had actually just got Nirvana's Nevermind. So we were listening to Smells Like Teen Spirit. We were listening to Green Day's Dookie album, and then we had Paradise Lost Draconian Times. And we all got it, and we were like, damn, this is fucking awesome. Because there were slower, heavier moments like Enchantment on there and Shades of God. They were sort of the slower, heavier ones, but they were also the up ones, like the Last Time and this particular one, Hallowed Land, which I really liked. But then, obviously, I think the album that came on after this, I was like, "What the hell is this?" They've gone almost pop at that point, and I kind of lost the point with them. But yeah, this was a really easily accessible. And I think they obviously went down this route of trying to be a bit more commercial with this particular album to kind of get for commerciality, radio sales. But what I find the most interesting here is the fact that we talked about My Dying Bride, we talked about Paradise Lost, and it's the clean vocals. When we talk about a lot of the heavy bands, a lot of them go real kind of guttural heavy, mainly death bands. But Doom seems to be very much a clean vocal performance. Would you say that's a fairly common thing? I'm just trying to think of like the local Doom bands we know, like Denali, Gévaudan. They're all quite predominantly clean vocals.
Denali, I don't think employ clean vocals, but it's a split across the genres of doom. I mean, there's the likes of early Paradise Lost, early My Dying Bride, where it's all death metal type growly vocals, and then there's some fantastic, very talented sort of clean vocalists like Messiah Marklin, Robert Lowe, to name but two. You know, both happen to play in Candlemass, but the guys who can combine the two really well are the ones that I favour and really like. I mean, early Paradise Lost is really extreme, really slow and death metal vocals all day long. Then there starts to be the combination of the two, like My Dying Bride employ now. But listening to this particular track, I have got the Draconian Times album, and at this point, Nick Holmes is singing clean probably all the time.
I think he does on the whole album, I think.
Yeah, the recorded version of this song is he's singing clean, but there's still that sort of what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, this sounds like a pop vocalist. His singing ability, he's had training or whatever, and he's delivering this particular song, you know, even more professionally, as it were, more commercial than it was sort of performed on the album.
Yeah, on the album there was a bit more.
Which takes me further away from this era of Paradise Lost. Do you know what I mean? They're going into the host and 1 second period, aren't they? You know, which I've never even ventured into.
I've listened to some of it, but I never got into that period at all. It was too soft. It was just it was just pop tracks at that point. I was like, oh, you've kind of lost your way. But then we listened to some of their stuff that they did a couple of years ago, and that was actually really good. The more recent releases, they've kind of gone back to some of their earlier sounds of like Icon.
I mean, a track from, I don't think they would call it a comeback album, sort of Return to Doom album. I think the album's called The Plague Within, and the track Beneath Broken Earth
that's good.
Absolutely incredible. I could listen to that all day.
I liked that one.
It's fairly simple, but it's crushing. And this, you know, that's the Paradise Lost I sort of grew up with, you know, because I had the demos circling around when I was at school, you know, Frozen Illusion demo, and you know, before the first album, and some early live stuff and whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I was lapping that up when I was, what would have been, teenager, early 20s, you know, at their embryonic stage, you know, when they were forming and sort of cutting their teeth in the local scene, wherever they're from, you know, Yorkshire. But, you know, it's a world away from what they'd eventually move on to at this sort of point in their career. I mean, this is obviously sort of a live show where they're going back a few albums and playing something from Draconian Times, which for me has some good moments, but few and far between. I mean, I think this show was,
I think, if I remember right, this was the 15-year anniversary of the album or something. So this was all Draconian Times, because it was it was either that or it was because it was their biggest seller. So it was their best-selling album is Draconian Times. Scarily. Because it's their most commercial one. It was the most commercially accepted. I think there was elements of the Doom fans that still really liked it.
Yeah.
And they got the rock metal fans into it. But unfortunately, they then went and experimented far too far and lost everyone. And then they've had to kind of fight their way back and never quite recovered all the way because people have still got that long memory. But let's listen to the rest of it.
You told
Okay, let's just do some final thoughts on that one. So, it was interesting that as soon as you mentioned about the vocals, that's what I've been listening to for the whole of that track, apart from the solo. I was like, and yeah, I mean, I think what has happened here is he's done basically the same as what's happened with like James Hetfield, Metallica, etc. Is like you heard in the early '90s, they had this guttural. They had a lot more warmth to their throat. They had a little bit more rasp to it. And then what's happened is people have gone, if you carry on singing like that, you're going to fuck your voice up and you're going to not be able to sing in another 5-10 years. You're going to be bollocksed. So you're going to have to learn a different technique. And so they're learning all these cleaner techniques, because that's why it's the same as James Hetfield. You hear him live. He can't do what he did in the 90s or the early 2000s. His voice, he has to sing in a different way. Now, he sang everything fine, but it sounded too clean. It sounded too nice.
Yeah.
There was no attitude in it. There was no. I say it to Kim when we talk about like Scarlet Envy and obviously Tellers. I'm like, you've sang it perfectly well, but I don't believe a word, or I don't believe that you believe a word that you're singing. You're telling me that something's coming. I don't believe something's coming because you don't sound like you believe it, and that's what I was getting there. Where it's like in hallowed land, you're like, is it hallowed land or is it like it's an okay land? Because you're not really selling it to me. You're not telling me that this is passionate. There's no passion there. It just feels. It's a job. It's a tick box. He's sung it, and he's done the job. There's no importance about getting that journey over or that singing over.
Yeah.
That was hard. I was actually trying to remember the solo as well, because when that first solo came and it was just going, I was like, Andy's going to love this solo. It's just one note. It just keeps going like that.
Yeah, I don't remember that. But what I do remember, and that as the vocals were being sort of delivered, I had in my head the recorded version, the album version. Yeah. I do know that particular song quite well, and it's just almost like a different vocalist. It's nice now, isn't it? Rather than Nick Holmes of Paradise Lost singing a song from an album which was like a transition in their career. It's almost like he's sort of gone up a register in his vocal register's gone up slightly, clearer enunciation. One thing I'm sort of noted down shortly after you restarted it. What was the name of that Nickelback song, their breakthrough song?
How You Remind Me.
Yeah. That is all right, it's Nickelback, but there's some, particularly the chorus, it's quite, there's some passion and power there, isn't there?
Yeah.
I remember, it's an okay song. You know, the guitar, it jams along, it's a decent song. But then I remember hearing, I think it was subtitle, it was the gold version, like the radio friendly one, and it's this was like the radio friendly mix of Hallowed Land by Paradise Lost, purposely for Radio 1.
It's a good way of putting it. We've used the terminology before about like ice cream flavors, and it's like this was the vanilla delivery. It's fine, you don't mind it, but you'd rather have had Rocky Road or Mint Choc Chip or something else, wouldn't you? You'd have rather have had the full calorie version with all the lovely flavors, not just here's a tub of vanilla ice cream. You're like,
and I don't remember sing-alongs and at shows either.
But
I'm surprised you didn't put the microphone out. You want to live a lifetime each and every day.
The thing is I would go to that concert more than I'd probably go to a My Dying Bride one and go. I'm like, no, I'd probably have more fun. I definitely think I'd have more fun at a Paradise Lost gig than I would as a My Dying Bride. Personally,
not if I was at that one, I wouldn't. Play with him. Yeah, maybe.
There we go. Yeah, that was Paradise Lost anyway.
I mean, if Kirk was here, he would mention Depeche Mode. I mean, I don't know much about Depeche Mode apart from their, the singles, but I could hear the comparison. I could hear the references that people make there with the vocals. Like I said, it's not a great Paradise Lost album for me. It's sort of the decline of the Do era, and that was, the vanilla gold Nickelback radio friendly version of that song. Not, I mean, musically, once the once that sort of solo and the instrumental passage came to the forefront, that was very faithful to the original recording. You couldn't, that could be, you put Nick Holmes 1995 on singing along to that, then it'd be fantastic. But obviously they made that decision at that point of time as a band, record company influence, wanting to be more commercial, I don't know, but they certainly lost me as a fan at that stage.
Well, I wonder if, we just talked with My Dying Bride, we talked about that doubling up. So he had harmonized vocals. Now, if I remember on the recording, there was definitely an extra layer of vocal performance on that song for Paradise Lost, because you could hear it on the first time when he comes in. You can almost hear they put it as a sample where it goes, you love to hear so far. I think on the recording there was actually more layers. And I think that's one of the problems you've got here. He's just a single guy singing it, whereas on the album, it was probably about 4 layers of vocals that got you this thickness and power that you just can't deliver again. But yeah, it wasn't a great live performance. It was fine. It was all in key and everything like that. But yeah, it's definitely lacking. I think to save his voice for the years that he's had to do it. But that was back this was from 2011. So obviously since then, they've gone back and they've gone into a bit more of a doomier position. So it'd be interesting to see how they do it. Because they did that video, was it called Paradise Lost at the Old Mill, where they basically played a load of different Paradise Lost for a live album. Be interesting to see what they did with the Draconian and see how we sound in there. But I've picked this particular one because I just wanted to have a look at it. So yeah, there we go. Okay, I'll do a quick Kirk impression. Yeah, the keyboard parts, that was very Faith No More. And the guitars, if you listen to the tuning, with Sugar. Covered it, pretty much. There we go. Now, if you like this video, please do like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you on another video sometime very soon. Take care.